8 kings, 1 prism, and a combined reign of 241,200 years, all of it before a flood that supposedly wiped the record clean. The number comes from a single object, the Weld-Blundell prism, catalogue number AN1923.444, sitting in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. And on that prism, one king gets a reign length that should stop you cold. Alalgar. 36,000 years on the throne. Not a typo, not a scribal slip. Written, copied, and preserved for close to 4,000 years. 2 explanations for that number exist. One says it is a math problem, a base 60 system misread over centuries. The other says it is no mistake at all. It is a message, deliberately built to sound impossible. Neither one closes the case. So we are going to weigh both, show you the evidence for each, and leave the verdict exactly where the record leaves it. Open. The physical record. Here is what you are actually looking at. A 4-sided clay prism, roughly 20 centimeters high, drilled straight through the center so it could sit on a wooden spindle and rotate in a scribe's hand. Whoever made this wanted it to turn, wanted each face read in sequence. Cuneiform covers all 4 sides, pressed into wet clay with a cut reed stylus sometime around 1800 BCE, then baked hard enough to survive 3,500 years underground. This is not the only copy. Across museum collections, roughly 25 fragmentary versions of the Sumerian King List exist. But this prism is the most complete by a wide margin, which is exactly why it is the one every scholar references first. Now, the opening section of the text does not read like a king list at all. It reads like scripture. Kingship descended from heaven, not seized, not inherited, handed down. And the first city to receive it was Eridu, on the southern edge of Mesopotamia, where the text says the very first king took his seat. From there, kingship moves, city to city, king to king, and the numbers start climbing before you have had time to question the first one. Alalgar gets his 36,000 years, and so does a king named Dumuzi later in the same antediluvian sequence. 3 more kings get 28,800 years each. 5 kings, 2 numbers, repeated like a formula, not like memory. Here is the line, as Stephen Langdon translated it back in 1923, the same year this prism entered the Ashmoleans' collection. In Eridu, Alulim became king and reigned 28,800 years. 8 words carrying a number no human reign has ever come close to. But the list does not stay mythic forever. That is the problem. Keep going, and you hit kings whose cities show up in the dirt, whose dynasties independent digs have confirmed, sitting in the same unbroken column as men who supposedly ruled for 800 human lifetimes. The Math Theory. R.K. Harrison publishes a paper in the Journal of the Evangelical Theological Society. Title: Reinvestigating the Antediluvian Sumerian King List. His claim cuts through the noise. The numbers on this prism are not broken. They are encoded. Follow his argument and you run straight into Sumerian counting. Base 10 is what we know. 10 fingers, 10 digits, everything stacked in tens. But the Sumerians used base 60. That sounds alien until you notice you use it daily. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 360 degrees in a circle. That system is Sumerian. It never left. The theory hinges on a single number, the Sar, 60 squared, 3,600. For Harrison, the Sar was not just a unit. It was a constant that got folded into the antediluvian reigns. By mistake or by a scribal convention, nobody recorded. Somewhere in the chain of copying, a number that made perfect sense in base 60 got flattened into a raw figure that only works in base 10. And once that happens, the king list stops looking like history and starts looking like broken math. Here is the mechanic, plain. Take the absurd totals, 36,000 and 28,800, and run them back through base 60. correction using the SAR as divisor. Harrison's math reduces them to a range that looks almost normal. Not modern normal, but not 800 lifetimes normal either. Long reigns for a Bronze Age ruler, yes, but reigns a human being could plausibly live through. Every version of this argument, including Harrison's, points back to the same source. Thorkild Jacobson's 1939 translation from the University of Chicago. Jacobson's edition is the baseline. It is the text scholars have argued with, argued against, and built upon for over 80 years. You do not get to Harrison without going through Jacobson first. Here is what Harrison's theory means, if it holds. Not a myth, not a metaphor, a math error, carried forward for centuries by scribes who kept copying a number they no longer understood, generation after generation, without knowing what it originally represented. That is the whole claim. Not gods inventing legitimacy, just bad transmission, a rounding error that hardened into scripture. It is a clean answer, a formula, a constant, a mechanism you can draw on a whiteboard. That is exactly why you should be cautious. The theory is neat, too neat. Outside of Harrison's paper and the pop science articles that cite him, this reading has not taken hold. It remains a minority position. Mainstream Assyriology, the field that handles these tablets daily, does not treat the base 60 correction as settled. It sees it as one interpretation among several, and not the one most specialists pick first. The detail that breaks the pattern. If Harrison is right, the errors should look like errors. Sloppy, rounded. The kind of mistake you expect from a scribe guessing at a number he did not fully understand. 3,000 years removed from the original writer. You expect approximation, a number like about 400 years. A round figure, guesswork written all over it. That is not what you get. Look at En-tarah-ana, a king listed later in the same document. His reign is not rounded to the nearest century, or even the nearest year. It is recorded as exactly 420 years, 3 months, and 3.5 days. Sit with that for a second. 3.5 days. Say it again. 3.5 days. This is not speculation. That is not an approximation. That is a receipt. That number is the entire problem for the math theory, laid out in plain sight. You are forced to choose between two demands, and both ask you to believe something uncomfortable. The math theory requires centuries of scribes across multiple cities, copying and recopying this list, all misreading their own base 60 system the exact same way, generation after generation, without a single one catching the error or correcting it. The symbolic theory needs something else. It needs a scribe who sat down and assigned a king a reign length divine enough to sound impossible, but precise enough to be tracked to the day. On purpose. Mainstream Assyriology sides with the second interpretation. In that reading, the King List is not a chronicle. It is political theology. Its job is to ground the legitimacy of later, very real dynasties in a past ordered by the gods. Kingship handed down from heaven, past city to city, an unbroken line stretching back before the flood. The extreme numbers are not a bug in that system. They are the point. A king backed by 36,000 years of divine sanction does not need to explain himself. Here is the mixing problem, and it is the part most breakdowns skip. This is one document. The same Prism that gives Alalgar 36,000 years also lists later kings, Gilgamesh among them, ruling cities, whose walls and timelines archaeologists have independently confirmed in the ground. Myth and verified history sit in the same unbroken column. Same hand, no line drawn, no transition marked, no note explaining where the fiction ends and the record begins. Nothing separates the two registers of time except a single flood, mentioned once, in passing. Like a page break, nobody bothered to label. Conclusion. A math fix and a theological reading both survive contact with the same evidence. Neither one closes the file. If you want more evidence-first analysis of the documents that official history can't fully explain, subscribe. New cases drop every week. Alalgar's reign is still 36,000 years on a museum shelf in Oxford. No one has explained why. The file stays open.